So in the previous session we had discussed about the description of turbine, various classification of turbine, efficiencies of turbine. So at the brief understanding of all those variabilities, what we will do is we will try to understand the first turbine which we are going to understand. Done? Okay. So as there are classification of turbines which have already been discussed, we know that based on the type of energy that we supply. So based on the type of energy that we supply, we have classified into two categories. One is impulse turbine, the other one is reaction turbine. Okay. So in this session, we are going to discuss about impulse turbine. Okay. Then while discussing the classification of turbine, there is also one more classification which has been explained to you, that how the water enters into the turbine. Okay. There are various ways in which the water enters into the turbine. Okay. So tangential flow turbine is there, and inward flow turbine is there, and outward flow turbine is there. Then there is an axial flow turbine. So these are the ways in which the water enter into the turbine, right? So here what we do is that there is a turbine called as Pelton turbine, which is named after the engineer who has developed that kind of turbine. So that Pelton turbine has been classified as impulse turbine and tangential flow turbine. It means what? The water that hits to the turbine is in case of impulse in nature. Okay, so it's not a reaction turbine. When we will discuss about Francis turbine and Kaplan turbine, I will be explaining you what is reaction turbine is. So in case of Pelton turbine, what we say is that it is an impulse turbine, because all the energy that we had got as the layout of hydroelectric power station has already been discussed with you. What we do is that we store the water at the higher level, then we convert all that pressure energy into the kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy is supplied to a turbine, right? So in this process where we are converting the potential energy to the kinetic energy which we converted, right? So all the energy is being converted into kinetic energy itself, right? So there is an impulse that creates. Okay, so that's why it is called as impulse turbine. Okay, now going to tangential flow turbine, why do we call it as tangential flow turbine? I'll explain you while deriving this equation. Okay, there is one more thing that we need to briefly discuss before we go to this derivation is, earlier, if you go back and see what we had discussed in the earlier session, we used to discuss such a way that there is a vane, we apply a force, and that vane moves with some velocity, right? So we used to calculate how much is the force exerted by the jet, and we used to calculate how much is the work done on the plate, on one single plate or one single vane. Now here, by understanding the force and the work which is done on the vane, okay, by understanding these two concepts, what we have done is we have developed a simple mechanism to convert into a mechanical energy, right? So what is that? As sir already explained you, what we do is that we'll take a wheel, and that wheel will be connected by several vanes. Okay, several vanes will be connected to it. Now when we have jet, we apply at one instant to one of the vane. Okay, so because the vane is connected to this wheel, that vane moves. Okay, that vane moves, but at that place, at the earlier place, there is another vane which comes into the position, right? So this process continues. Because of this continuous process, the wheel will also start rotating, and this is how we convert kinetic energy of water into mechanical energy of runner, right? So this is what the advantage of fixing the vanes to a wheel, okay, and then converting the hydraulic energy or water power into a mechanical energy, right? So this is what the concept is. So what we will do is, you might have already seen the animation video which has been sent to you in the Google Classroom. So you go through this animation, there you will find out in an animated show how the water enters into the turbine, in the Pelton turbine, and how the turbine starts rotating, and because of the rotation of that wheel, how the energy is generated in the runner and how it has been sent to the shaft also. So thereafter the energy that is supplied to the shaft will be converted into electrical energy, which is not our part of business. Okay, right? So what we'll do is we'll try to understand this concept of how much work is done on Pelton turbine and how do we find out the efficiency of a Pelton turbine is. Okay, so let us focus on one of the vane. Okay, there are series of vanes which are connected to the Pelton turbine, what I'm doing is I'm taking only one vane. Okay, this is the shape of that one vane. So what we call it as, we call it as cup. Okay, so these are the two cups which are there in the given vane of a Pelton turbine. Okay, so this part we call it as divider or splitter. Okay, so what basically we do is that we apply a jet of water exactly at the splitter, okay, at the center of this two cups. Okay, then the water glides over on both sides of the surface, right? So this is what the action that is taking place. Because of this impulse force that is being acting on this vane, what happens is this deflects. Okay, this vane moves into the next position, and another vane which is over this side will come into this position. Again this process continues. So because of this, the wheel will continuously rotate, right? So this is what the entire process is. Now we will try to understand this force which is acting on the vane with respect to our velocity triangles. Okay, so we had already discussed about the velocity triangle. So we want to define what is a velocity triangle for the Pelton wheel or one of the vane. Okay, so here as you can see, before going to understand the velocity inlet velocity triangle and outlet velocity triangle, what I would like to explain you is one more thing. Here the vane is not particularly moving in x direction. Okay, it is moving in a radial direction, but that radial direction is remaining constant, right? So what we do is that we want to calculate how much is the velocity of the vane. So to calculate the velocity of vane, what we do is that we calculate a u is the linear velocity. Linear velocity is calculated by pi d n divided by 60. Okay, we know what is d is. D is the diameter of the wheel. Okay, what is n? N is the number of rotations that is taking place per minute. Okay, so pi d n divided by 60. So this will give you the linear velocity. So this is how we calculate the velocity of the moving vanes, all the vanes. Okay, so now here, as the jet is sitting at the center, because of that we will have a velocity v, and u is also unidirectional. It is unidirectional, so that's why u is been written here. So how do we write Vr? Vr will be written as v minus of u. So this becomes our inlet velocity triangle, which is a simple line. Okay, right. So I'll come back to this inlet velocity triangle later. Now we'll go to outlet velocity triangle. So I have already shown you how the velocity triangle, outlet velocity triangle looks like in this figure also. Okay, so over here you can see this is our outlet velocity triangle. This is Vr1, this is V, this is Vf1, Vw, U, Vr1 into cos of phi. Okay, so these are the nomenclatures regular to that of the outlet velocity triangle which we used to derive. I hope you all remember this. Okay, now here in this velocity triangle, phi beta is there. Now I can write like this: Vr1 into cos of phi will be this entire distance. So Vr1 into cos of phi will be equals to u plus of Vw1. U we already know from this equation. Okay, so this is what inlet velocity triangle and outlet velocity triangle. From understanding this inlet velocity triangle and outlet velocity triangle, what we do is we will try to describe what is our work done per second. Okay, so we already knew what is the equation for work done per second. What is that equation? Rho q into Vw plus or minus Vw1 into u. This is what the equation for work done per second for any given condition, right? Now what we'll do is we'll try to describe what is Vw and what is Vw1 from our inlet and outlet velocity triangles. So what is Vw? Going over here, V is equals to Vw itself. Okay, V is equals to Vw. So I have written here V is equals to Vw. Now what is Vr is equals to? Vr is equals to V minus of u. These two conditions are established based on the inlet velocity triangle. Okay, now we'll establish what is Vw1. Let us try to define what is Vw1 from the outlet velocity triangle over here. Okay, so how to define this? We'll go with one by one. This is Vr1 into cos of phi. Okay, so Vr1 into cos of phi will be equals to u plus of Vw1. Vr1 into cos of phi is equals to u plus of Vw1. We know that Vr1 is equals to Vr. Is this correct? So instead of VR1, we can substitute VR. So what is VR from the earlier equation that we have written here? VR is equals to V minus of U. So instead of VR, I am substituting V minus U. So from this I can calculate how much is VW1. VW1 is equals to V minus U cos of phi into U. Okay. So we have established what is VW. VW is equals to V, and VW1 is equals to V minus U into cos of phi minus U. Okay. So let us substitute both these values into the earlier equation. See here what I have done. VW is there, VW is substituted by V. VW1 is there, VW1 is substituted by V minus U into cos of phi minus of U. Okay. Now I am just rewriting the same equation, and this is how the equation looks. So in this I can bring out V minus U common. So V minus U is brought common. So what is left over? Rho Q into V minus U into bracket 1 plus or minus cos of phi into U. This is what the equation for work done per second in case of Pelton turbine. So this is a work done equation. Okay. So here hydraulic, usually how do we calculate the efficiencies? Efficiencies are calculated by output, how much output is there, divided by input. Okay, the ratio of output by input will give you the efficiency. So as in the previous session also we have discussed about hydraulic efficiency. How do we describe the hydraulic efficiency? It is the amount of power developed in the runner divided by the power given by the water, right? So RP divided by WP, the equation that has been already discussed to you in the previous session. So here we will try to understand that work done per second. What is this work done? Work is being done on the runner. There is a amount of mechanical energy which is developed in the runner. So that's why this is the work done per second is nothing but the work which is done on the runner. So we know the equation for work done per second, right? Then what we do is that we will try to identify how much is the energy that is given to the runner, which is the water power. How do we calculate that? It is calculated by kinetic energy per second. So this is the kinetic energy per second, which is half rho Q into V square. This is the equation for kinetic energy. Now the power developed in the runner divided by the power supplied by the jet will be divided, which is work done per second divided by kinetic energy per second will give you the hydraulic efficiency. So in this what happens? Rho Q is getting cancelled. So this is what the equation for hydraulic efficiency. Okay. So now once we know the equation for hydraulic efficiency, there is one point that you have to observe here. What I have done is, in work done per second I have written plus or minus, but when it comes to hydraulic efficiency I have eliminated that minus symbol. There is only plus symbol. So why this only plus symbol exists? If you want to increase the efficiency of a turbine, you make sure that it doesn't go negative value. You should make sure that this remains positive itself. To make sure it remains positive, what should we do is, we should try to curtail the beta angle. So this beta angle is there, right? So this beta angle should always be acute. Okay, it should not become 90 degree or it should not become obtuse angle. If it becomes obtuse angle, what will happen? Minus sign will come into the position. So how do we try to derive or we try to design a turbine in such a way that this beta angle always remains acute itself. So if it remains acute, then this plus symbol will exist. So in order to get the higher efficiency, we make sure that the beta remains acute itself. Okay, so this is the first condition. Okay, we try to eliminate the minus symbol by making sure the beta remains acute itself. Okay, so once we solve the hydraulic efficiency, now I want to calculate what is the condition for maximum hydraulic efficiency. So to calculate the maximum hydraulic efficiency, what I'll do is I'll differentiate this equation with respect to U. Okay, so why am I differentiating it with respect to U? Because V is constant. We cannot change the absolute velocity. What is the only thing that can be changed? The velocity of the vane, velocity of the moving vane. That is what I can change. So that's why this equation has been differentiated with respect to U. So after differentiating, you try to see in this equation 1 plus cos phi divided by V square are brought outside. Okay, so V minus U whole square into U divided by du. Okay, this is the differentiation which will go through. Okay, so the differentiation has been done here. So what is V is equals to? V is equals to 2 times of U, or U is equals to V by 2. This is the condition here. Okay, either absolute velocity is equals to 2 times of velocity of the moving vane, or the velocity of moving vane is half of the absolute velocity. If this condition is satisfied, then only I can say there is the maximum hydraulic efficiency. Now, to define what is maximum hydraulic efficiency, what we do is that we will substitute either V is equals to 2 times of U or U is equals to V by 2 in this equation. Okay. After solving this, I have tried to solve here. If you can observe here, what I did is I substituted V as 2 times of U in this equation. Okay. After that, I got this equation where maximum hydraulic efficiency is equals to half of into bracket 1 plus of cos of phi. What is phi here? Phi is the vane angle at the exit. Okay, so this is what the work done efficiency of the Pelton turbine. So to calculate the work done, we have to go over here, rho into Q into V minus U into bracket 1 plus or minus cos of phi into U. This is the work done per second on the turbine. And this is the hydraulic efficiency. This is the equation to calculate the hydraulic efficiency. If you want to find out how much is the maximum hydraulic efficiency, you have to solve this.